Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as I show you how you can grow some vegetable plants indoors all year long. So let's go. Today is January 19th, and here in Zone 5B, it's still too early for me to even think about starting hot pepper plants and tomato plants. I typically start those plants sometime around March. However, today we are going to plant some tomatoes and some peppers. I'm going to tell you why. There are certain plants that are bred and you can actually grow them indoors. They're a smaller size plant, and many times you'll see the words micro or dwarf, and you can either grow them indoors under grow lights or you can grow them outdoors in pots. You could grow them out in a big vegetable garden if you actually wanted to, or a raised bed as well. But my intention for today is to start some seeds, and what we're going to do is we're going to be growing these indoors under my grow light. Last year, I grew a bunch of lettuce indoors, and it was delicious. Our family enjoyed it, and I was able to share it with other people as well. And last year was my first time experimenting with growing tomatoes indoors. I bought the orange hat tomato. I bought it from Baker Creek. However, there are a few different places where you can buy those seeds. And I really wasn't sure, to be honest with you, if the plant was actually going to produce any tomatoes. Sometimes on the internet, I've heard that when you have LED grow lights like I have, that it's just enough light to basically grow a plant to the transplant size, so then you can plant it outside. And I wasn't sure if these LED shop lights would actually produce enough light to produce tomatoes for me. Well, they did, and my family really enjoyed the tomatoes. And the plants were surprisingly prolific. I couldn't believe how many tomatoes we harvested. I think I had grown 3 or maybe 4 tomato plants, which was plenty. So I bought my seeds from a company called Seeds and Such. I've never bought seeds from them before, so I'm not quite sure what to expect, but I figured let's give it a try. And the 3 plants that we're going to grow together are hybrid pepper taquito, hybrid cucumber quick snack, and tomato micro tom. And before we get planting, if you haven't already, if you could kindly hit the subscribe button down below, that would really help my channel out a lot. And also there's a notification bell that you can click on, and that will tell you every time that I create a video, because I've been told by a few people that they didn't realize that they needed to hit the notification bell. And so then they miss out on videos from my channel as well as other channels that they've subscribed to. And if you like this content, please hit the like button. That tells the YouTube algorithm that people are interested in this type of content. So when it comes to starting the seeds, I like to plant my seeds in trays like this. And this is just a restaurant to-go container that had food in it at some point. I cleaned it out, and then I created holes at the bottom of the trays, and I just used a drill. But you can use anything that's, easy to be able to make the holes in the bottom of your trays. But I like to reuse what I have. I'm all about recycling and not having to just buy a lot of stuff. This would have just gone in a landfill perhaps, so now I can use it year after year. And it's just the right size. I like how small it is. It works out really well for me. And when it comes to what kind of a potting mix I'm going to use, I like to make my own seed starting mix. There are a lot of different options. You can buy your own seed starting mix. You can buy potting mix, but you want to just be sure that it's fluffy. You want the mix to be able to drain water well and be nice and fluffy so that seeds can germinate in it. So I like to make my own seed starting mix. It's a mixture of peat moss, vermiculite, and lime. And I've created a video showing you how to make your own seed starting mix, and I can put a link to that below. I do like making my own seed starting mix because I start a ton of plants from seed. So in the long run, it's cheaper for me to do it that way. And behind me are my grow lights. It's basically DIY, and I made a video, I'll link it below, that just shows how you can create your own system similar to mine. It really has been a lifesaver. It's worked out really well for me, and I have it, in fact, right in my eat-in kitchen area of my house. I love to sit in this area in the morning and in the evening. It's actually very relaxing for me to work in this area. Okay, so let's get started with our first plant. What we're going to plant is we are going to plant the tomato. So the micro tom tomato, and I'm going to put some seed starting mix in here. And I've already pre-moistened my seed starting mix. And not only did I do that, I sterilized the seed starting mix. I just don't want to have fungus gnats in the house. And a lot of times fungus gnats like to lay their eggs inside of peat moss. So far, fingers crossed, I have not seen a single fungus gnat. So I filled the seed starting mix about halfway, and that gives enough room for when the seeds germinate, they can grow. But what will end up happening is I'm going to be putting saran wrap on the top here, and I don't want the seeds to hit the saran wrap right away. And I'm not planning on sowing all of the seeds that are in each of these seed packets. I don't need that many plants. And also, my intention for all three of these plants is that I want to grow some of them to stay indoors so that I have something to snack on during the winter months. But then I'm also going to grow some that I can put in container pots outdoors. Now, even though I live on about 2 acres of land, most of it is shade. It is not conducive to growing vegetables. Therefore, I have to be creative in my garden, especially when it comes to my vegetable plants. The areas in my yard that get sun, I take full advantage of it, and I plant flowers in those areas because there are so many flowers that only grow well in full sun. So I don't want to give up those spots, and I have a lot of flowers in those areas. So I've had a lot of luck growing vegetables in pots, and I just put the pots in areas where it's sunny in my yard. That has worked out really well for me. And so that's what I'm planning to do with these 3 plants, probably in a few months when I start the seeds for those transplants to go outside. Now, I'm sure that these varieties of seeds that I'm telling you about, you can buy from other places other than seeds and such. But I just wanted to make sure I let you know that's where I bought these seeds from. So what it says here is that this is part of the new Kitchen Minis collection. And that's a whole other thing that I'll talk about afterwards. And it says that the plants can be grown inside on a sunny windowsill or a counter without a garden. Personally, I wouldn't want to grow a tomato plant in the windowsill. Even if it was south facing and getting a lot of sun, I just feel like many times plants get leggy. So it's my preference and it's my recommendation that if you're going to do this process, that you get some grow lights and put your plants under there. So then it goes on and it says that they can also be grown outside as a tabletop patio variety. They are very compact, and the plants produce continuous crops of tasty pea-sized red tomatoes for year-round use. And a little bit more information on the plant is days to maturity is 53. The sowing method, the best is to start indoors. The sowing depth is 1/4 inch. Then it talks about spacing, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm not going to be planting these out in my vegetable garden. But if you did want to plant these in your vegetable garden, you want to space them about 36 inches apart. They like full sun. Their height is about 6 to 8 inches, pretty tiny, which I love. The fruit size is about 1 to 3 inches, and it's a determinate tomato. And it says here that this package has 15 to 20 seeds, and the guaranteed germination is 80% or higher. So that means if you were to plant 10 seeds, it's guaranteed that 8 of them will germinate, which I'm fine with. I don't need a ton of these seeds, so I'm happy with that. And in case you're wondering, this packet of seeds cost me $3.99, which I didn't think was terrible. And I did pay for shipping when I bought these seeds here. And I forget how much shipping was. It might have been $3 or $4. And I bought a few other seeds along with these 3 seeds. So the shipping cost was pretty minimal. And I think what I'm going to do is plant 4 seeds. And the hope is that at least 2 of them germinate. And if all 4 seeds germinate into a plant, I'm going to be fine with that. I would be very happy with 4 plants indoors. So I just took out 4 seeds, and you can see that they are pretty small in size. And it said to plant them 1/4 inch deep. So I'm just going to make a small little hole with my finger actually and plant the seeds. It's always important to read the package and plant your seeds at approximately the right depth, because if it's planted way too deep or not planted deep enough, that can affect the way that the plant grows for you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be planting all 3 varieties of plants in this one tray here. And I realize that some of the plants will germinate faster than other plants, and I'm okay with that because I'll be checking this tray about daily. And once the little seedlings are big enough for me to transplant, I'll take them out of here and I'll put them in their own 6-packs. So the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to put a small divider so that I know which side is which for the different plants. And when I planted the seeds in here, I made sure to press down, not terribly hard, but just with a little bit of pressure. You want to make sure that the seeds have good contact with the potting mix or seed starting mix. The next plant we're going to grow, I'm very excited about. It is the hybrid pepper taquito. I've grown plants indoors that were peppers, but I only grew them to a size that I could then transplant them outdoors and plant them out in my garden. I've never grown a pepper plant indoors and actually produced peppers. The way I look at it is all of this is an experiment, and hopefully the experiment works for us. And if not, we'll figure it out and we'll see what worked and what didn't and why. I feel confident about the tomatoes just because I've done that before, but the peppers it'll be interesting to see. There are 25 seeds in this packet. It says guaranteed germination 75% or higher. One thing I didn't mention is on the Seeds and Such website, you can either buy a small amount of seeds, and that's what I did, or you can pay more money and buy them in bulk. So if you do find that, let's say you really like a variety and you want to buy the seeds in bulk, you do have that option of doing it on this particular website. So for this pepper plant, it says medium heat, upright peppers that ripen to red above a bushy green foliage. And then it says no garden, no problem. It's designed specifically for those with limited space requirements. That's me. With kitchen minis, you can easily grow peppers year round. Brighten a sunny window inside or a patio table outside with these very compact varieties that add pop of color and a pinch of convenience. Okay, so then it says days to maturity, 105, start them indoors, sow them about a 1/4 inch deep. It says spacing is about 24 to 36 inches. That's if you're planting them outdoors, which a lot of times for peppers and tomatoes, you don't want to plant the seeds outdoors, but if you had like transplants, you would want the transplants to be 24 to 36 inches apart. They prefer full sun. The spread is 5 to 6 inches. Height is 4 inches. It's so small for a pepper plant, 4 inches. And then the fruit size is 1.5 inch. And I paid $3.99, and again, there were 25 seeds in this packet. So we will go ahead, and I think I'm going to do 4 of these as well. I think these plants will look really nice in the fall time in some of my pots and containers. So if I can have them growing, the ones we're going to grow today will stay indoors, but then probably in a couple of months, we will start some more of these with the intention that these will be planted outdoors. And then hopefully I can enjoy them all summer long. And then in the fall, I think they would look really pretty out in some containers. So here are the 4 seeds. And again, they're pretty small. And all I'm doing is it's not very technical. I'm just basically making a small little furrow, a little area where I can put the seeds in here. What I've learned over the years is, try to make it as simple as possible for yourself. I think a big reason why I like to make these videos is I want anyone that's watching this video to feel confident that they could try something, and that I don't basically, there are so many different ways that you can do things. So this way that I'm doing it might be different than someone else that's doing a similar type of video that you're watching, let's say. So you want to do what's best for you, but try different things, experiment, and don't give up. That's, I think that's my motto, and probably in all my videos now on, is to experiment, and there will be failures along the way. There will be successes along the way, but don't give up. Just keep trying. All right, so that is the pepper plants. I'm going to put this right here so that I know what I planted. The tomatoes are over here. Okay, this one also is an experiment, and together we will see if this works. So this is called the Hybrid Cucumber Quick Snack. It's a packet of 10 to 12 seeds, and it has a guaranteed germination of 80% or higher. So it looks like you can buy this in bulk as well. And I paid $3.99 for this packet of seeds, and it has the same verbiage. No garden, no problem. That's me. A new addition to the kitchen minis. Actually, I do have some gardens when it comes to vegetable gardens in my yard. I just don't have a ton of space for full sun vegetable gardens. So anyway, a new addition to the Kitchen Minis series that is specifically designed for those with limited space requirements. It's kind of similar to what we just already read. And Quick Snack brings deliciously crisp and sweet cocktail-sized cucumbers to your kitchen in just a few weeks. For best results, the plants will benefit from being trellised, and the mini dark green fruits will taste best when picked at recommended size. For best results, the plants will benefit from being trellised, and the mini dark green fruits will taste best when being picked at a recommended size. And now this part I love. It says plants require no pollination, because there are some plants, if you did want to grow them inside and experiment, you would have to pollinate them with your hands. So it's nice that you don't have to do that with this plant. And actually the tomatoes that I grew last year, the orange hat tomatoes, I didn't have to pollinate those with my hand. So I will do some research on these. And if I find that anything that we're growing needs to be pollinated by hand, I'll pop a note up on the screen just so you know. So a little more information on these cucumbers. Days to maturity, 40. Sow method, you want to start them indoors or you can direct sow them outdoors. You want to sow them a ½ inch deep. Spacing is 18 to 36 inches. They need full sun. The spread is 15 to 20 inches. The fruit size is 1.5 to 2.5 inches. And this is a word I've never heard of, so I will try to pronounce it, and then I will put the definition on the screen once I research it. The word is parthenocarpic. So let's go ahead and plant these. You know, honestly, when I see a 1/4 inch or a ½ inch, personally, I don't get too hung up on that. It doesn't say surface sow. If it said surface sow, that's literally sow it on the surface and press down. If it said 1 inch deep, then I kind of am like, okay, that's pretty deep. But when you're talking like a 1/4 inch or a ½ inch, they're all very similar. So I think for this, I'm only going to do 2 plants. I don't, when it comes to the fact that I have to trellis them, I don't think I want to do more than 2. So we are going to we're going to start with 2. And that's what the seeds look like. Now, I'm very good about collecting seeds from plants. For many years, I've collected seeds from different flowers, be it annuals or perennials. I've made a whole bunch of videos showing you how to do that. I have collected the seeds from vegetables a few times, but not a ton. So one of my goals for this year is to get better, and I want to collect my own seeds from my vegetable plants. So I will be doing that this year, and I will be showing you my process for doing that. So I'm just planting these 2 seeds here, like that, and cover them up. If you go to www.kitchenminis.com, that's what some of these varieties here are. I don't believe all 3 of them are, but some of them are. So on the Kitchen Minis website, it basically tells you where you can buy Kitchen Mini seeds, and maybe even plants, but it tells you where you can buy Kitchen Minis. And they basically specialize in tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers. So, which I think is perfect. And when it comes to the peppers, it looks like they have, looks like 9 different varieties, at least right now, 9 different varieties of different types of peppers. They have sweet peppers, hot peppers, So you can look out there and see what they have and then try to find a store that sells these. And then for tomatoes, they have 3 different varieties of tomatoes on their site. So keep in mind that Kitchen Minis is just one of many different places that sell these micro tomatoes or dwarf tomatoes. So if you just did a search on the internet for micro or dwarf tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, you'll find other places that sell seeds. So just keep that in mind. And then for cucumbers, it looks like the only one that they sell is the quick snap. So I'm excited about that one. I'm looking forward to sharing updates on that with you. The next thing I want to do, even though this is pre-moistened, is I want to give this just a small drink of water. I really should invest in the small little water pump or hand sprayer, I guess. But, you know, this works. It's all good. So why not? So just a small amount of water. And I like to use saran wrap just to cover the top here. And what it does is it acts as basically a humidity dome. And that's important for a lot of the seeds that you're starting. You want them to have that humidity. And what I like about the saran wrap is it's something that I already have in my house. And a lot of times I reuse the saran wrap. So when I'm writing on here, I'm going to make sure that I'm not writing in the center. I'm going to write on the top. And then when I'm done with this tray, everything's been sprouted and moved out of here, I can then write something else on the saran wrap and plant some other stuff in this tray. All right, so on this side here, we have the tomato. Over here, we have pepper. And then here we have the cuke. And today's date is January 19th. So the next thing we're going to do is put this on a heat mat. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about heat mats. So I've never had a heat mat up until this year. I've been gardening for 30 years. I've had a lot of success without using a heat mat. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos where they talk about certain plants needing a heat mat. And, you know, that's part of the reason I bought it was that I want to be able to germinate things faster. Partially for myself, but partially because I make videos for, you know, for sharing. And if a plant can germinate faster than without the heat mat, then why not? They're pretty cheap to buy. I bought mine off of Amazon, and there are heat mats that have a thermostat on them. There are heat mats that don't have a thermostat. The first one that I bought was about a month ago, and I bought the one with that thermostat. And I've had plants on there, and I've been waiting for those plants to be fully germinated so I can take these little trays off. Anyway, I caved and I bought some more heat mats, but I didn't buy the ones with the thermostat because I feel like they don't, you know, it should be getting enough heat on those heat mats. So I don't really see a need to have that many heat mats all with thermostats. So let me bring you over there and I'm going to show you where we're going to place these. So in a recent video that I made, I went over the different grow light systems that I have. And this one over here is one by Gardener Supply. And I've had it for many years. In fact, I recently switched out all the light fixtures. They had fluorescent light fixtures in them. So I just switched out the bulbs to be LED. It was actually a very simple process. I wasn't planning to do it, but I ended up just switching them over. So I think just to make myself feel better that I'm using LED and hopefully saving money in the long run. And over here, I have a whole bunch of plants on this one heat mat that I initially bought. And over there, you can see that it has the thermostat attached. And the temperature for the heat mat is generally between 73 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I have a whole bunch of stuff growing here. I'm just going to share with you what I have. There's parsley, spinach, cilantro. We have Swiss chard. There's some lettuce. I have some different types of begonias. There's geranium there and a couple of different types of basil. So a lot happening over here. And then over here is the other heat mat that I just recently bought. And in case you're interested, this is the set of heat mats that I bought. It's a set of 4, and it was actually a very decent price on Amazon. And all I'm going to do is just place the small tray on here, and that's it. I do leave my heat mats plugged in all the time. They're not on a timer. However, these lights are on a timer. and they come on at 5 a.m. and they go off at 9 p.m. So they're on for quite a bit of the day. And after I'm done with this video, I'm going to lower these lights back down so that they're about 2 or 3 inches away from each of these little trays here. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and you definitely want to follow along, and let's see how this experiment works. I'm excited. I can't wait. I just love growing my own food. The grocery bills are getting more and more expensive, it seems like. And so if we can grow our own food, why not? And if we can grow our own food indoors, especially if you live in an area that's as cold as my area is, I think that's a nice way to be able to still garden during our winter months. I hope you're able to get some gardening done as well. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.